So thank you everyone for joining our January Coffee and EVs. We're going to be, we've got several of our existing folks and some new folks, it looks like, who have joined. Folks who have participated in the Tennessee Tech University program, EV Learner program. It looks like some of those folks have joined. So I will open it up at this time. Any questions, comments, any news items from the past month or so anyone wants to share, just put it out there. And for our new folks, if you want to introduce yourselves briefly, we could start there.
Well, I'll say hi. I'm a new old folk. I was around many, many years ago. John Dixon. I now reside in Wilmington, North Carolina. Lived in Charleston my whole life until we moved here 5 years ago. I own purchased new 2015 Model S and a 2020, I think, or whatever, the first Model 3s that came out. Still have them. Yeah, I'm just celebrating 10 years on the Model S. Drove it today. It's just perfect. I mean, I look at new cars and I think they haven't changed that much. Why would I invest in something that's gone like that? So, and I mentioned that earlier that I just looked it up just for the YouTube video on CES. It's an interesting video. People may want to look at the Las Vegas show. This is done by Out of Spec, and it's a 2025 full tour of EV charging and innovations. It's about an hour long. He goes through that big convention center of nothing but EV, so you can fast forward through a lot of it. But he's a pretty interesting guy and does a lot of EV. He's reviewed about every car. And if you haven't seen him, he's really picky. He tells you what's good and what he doesn't like, and the manufacturers seem to listen to him. Okay.
All right. Well, John, if you got the link, if you want to drop it in the chat, we'll send that out with the recording.
I can drive a Tesla, but I don't know I can do this, but I'll try.
Okay. All right. Anyone else want to introduce yourself? Who else do we got? Looking for names I don't recognize. Ford Price.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, I'm a friend of Rick Walker's, and I participated in the Tennessee Tech EV program. I had the Mustang, and had it a couple weeks, enjoyed that. I also own a Chevy Volt, so it's partly EV, and so this is my first time to be with you.
All right, well, welcome. Glad you could join us.
Thank you.
Yeah, the Chevy Volt was several of us as our entry level to our EV addiction.
Yeah, the gateway drug.
Yeah, the gateway.
Yeah, I really like the Volt, and of course, around town, that's all I use is the EV part of it. I hardly ever use the gas hybrid, but of course, on longer trips, I have to.
I had a kind of an interesting event the 28th of December, right after Christmas. It's kind of routine for our family to get together at my nephew's up in Charleston, and so we had 4 Teslas there, and it was a warm day, and we were out doing light and music shows, and neighbors were coming by, and they had us repeating the light music shows, and Ron Sowell came by. If you all know who Ron Sowell is, he's a former director of Mountain Stage. He was a neighbor and came by, and so we put on a show for him.
That's pretty neat.
That is pretty cool. Did I miss anyone? I'm just trying to scan through the names. If anyone else wants to introduce themselves, or Diane, I know you kind of already spoke up, but what vehicle did you borrow, and maybe tell us about how you and what was your experience like?
I had the Volkswagen ID4, and I live in Huntington, so yeah, I worked with Rick to get the car, and I don't know, what else did you ask?
Just, I mean, what was your experience with it? I mean, did you enjoy it? Do you think something like that could work for your needs? Was there something did you think you need like home charging, faster home charging or anything?
Well, I would just need to work out how I would charge. So the charger I never charged it at home at all because I didn't have a place to do that.
Oh, okay.
Without like leaving a door open to run the cord through, I didn't have a way to do that, and the cord wouldn't have been long enough anyways. It just wasn't an option. But I do work at Marshall, and we have a charger like right outside the building I work in, so I was able to charge it while I was at work, which is pretty convenient.
Okay.
I did enjoy the car. It's a major upgrade from the 2004 that I'm currently driving. So yeah, it's pretty fun to drive a new car.
All right. Well, glad you had a good experience with it.
Mostly though, other than when it's freezing out and snowing like what we've had recently, I usually ride my electric bicycle.
And there's other forms of electric transport. That's true.
What type of electric bike do you have, Diane? I'm considering getting one in the future, and how you like yours.
Right. I have a brand called Lectric. It's like electric without the E on the front. Mine is a step through, and they have, I think, maybe 5 different models. I like it because I don't know if you've looked at electric bikes much. When I was shopping for mine, they have a lot of different options. Some that use the battery all the time, some that you can just pedal, and some that have pedal assist, and some that have throttle. So there's different options for how they're designed, and this one has all of those options, and I like options. So being able to change which class it's in, I don't know how much you know about electric bikes, but depending on where you ride it, there's a class system. There's 3 different classes of electric bikes, and the laws are different. So in some places, it's illegal to ride an electric bike in a class 3 setting on a path where people are walking, things like that. So you just have to really look at your local laws about it.
Right.
And this brand, it has all of the different options where you can change the settings to be in any class that you choose. So.
Okay.
Cool.
We have Brian Casto who hasn't.
It's Miss Amanda,
Oh,
under my husband's name. I brought
Hey,
it.
Amanda.
I brought it down.
You got it.
Yes. 15.
Yay.
Have you been able to use it yet?
No, I haven't. I haven't even taken it out of the box.
Okay.
But I'll
Wait,
put it in
where
the car.
you live up in the central part of the state, right, Amanda?
Yeah, North
Morgantown?
Central. North Central,
Or-
yeah.
Yeah.
The closest one, I guess, would be Weston.
No.
No, I can't use
That you can't use Weston.
even with an adapter. I can't use.
No. But Fairmont you could.
Okay.
Flatwood you could, and Morgantown. Only the one on Earl Core Road though, not the other one.
Are
Right.
you sure Flatwoods works?
It's a V3. It should work.
Yeah, I know, but for some reason it's not open.
I haven't looked at the Blue Oval network to see which ones are now available to me. So I'll have to one day.
Yeah.
I saw another vehicle. Maybe I saw another vehicle trying to charge at Flatwoods on my Thanksgiving trip. But there was a non-Tesla EV at there. I thought they were charging.
Okay.
And I've seen at the Morgantown Earl Core Road, I saw multiple non-Tesla EVs there.
Well, that would be nice because there was only one really before available. I believe, at the Kia dealership, and it was a level 2. So
Yeah, check out that Earl Curl. Actually, I saw a Mustang Mach-E charging at Earl Curl Road.
okay.
What is that, like exit 4 or something on 68 or something? Like
Well, several ways you can get there. Yeah, but you can go off exit 1, and that's Green Bag. Green Bag is 1. Yeah, there's other ways to get there.
yeah.
Save
Okay.
it from that.
The best resource is the Tesla app. When you plug in your vehicle, it'll tell you whether you can charge or not.
Okay. I assume the app will tell me.
Yeah, the Ford app would also tell you, I mean, what's approved for use. But yeah, the older V2 stations, none of those will be compatible. Although they look the same, so you can't just go by the look.
Let's go by the app.
Go by the app, yes. All right, I think that's probably everybody. I don't see any other new names.
I would like to point out that John Dixon was at the organizing meeting of this group where we've changed the name and reorganized in 2015. It was at a restaurant in Sissonsville, West Virginia. Remember that, John?
I do. You have a good memory.
Yeah.
Was that when we test drove the Model S?
Yes. Yes.
The guy from South Charleston scared us to death. Here's my brand new car, and he was ripping it down the road. Bulk car.
Yeah. We test drove a guy from Parkersburg who's since passed. That's the meeting I'm thinking about there. And it was the Top Spot, or
yeah. Well, I met out there with it was in the spring because I just get the car till February, but it was brand new, and we met at the Top Spot. And I had my new Model S 85D, which was the hot thing then. And oh shoot, he was ER physician. He had one of the first white Model S's.
Robbie
Romaine. Yeah. He test drove it, and you drove it, I think, but then he wanted to try it, and I wasn't too happy. Let's just say that he about hit a car going around a curve. The car had about 100 miles on it.
those potholes out there on Route 21 were awful to be test driving something on. That was a long time ago. Yeah, the guy, I remember the guy from Parkersburg came in. He just threw his fob down on the table there and said, "Have at it, boys. Don't break it."
As a result of that, my son drove it, and then he bought a 2015 Model S.
Yeah, he got it right after mine. His was a red one in town too, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, we get confused sometimes.
So he moved to Georgia, and just a few months after they moved down there, his wife got somebody totaled the car, hitting it from the side, running a traffic light.
Man.
All right. Well, go ahead, Larry.
Well, I was just saying, I was trying to remember that guy's name. I ought to be able to remember it. I don't have a very good memory, but he allowed all of us to drive his Model S, and he ended up getting cancer and died fairly early on. He had started a construction business, and his son was running it in Parkersburg.
I was going to share a few news items here real quick.
Brian had a thing on chat, Robert, if you saw.
Oh, I didn't see that.
A question.
Switch back over to chat here. Yeah, Brian. Yeah, we can do that. Happy to talk about solar.
Amanda. I'm sorry, Amanda.
All right, I'm
Short-term
going to
memory
share.
goes quick.
All right, just a few news items. Saw that the Chevy Equinox was doing well in sales. I mean, for the non-Tesla segment, I think in the last quarter of the year, it racked up almost 20,000 in sales. So that's been doing pretty well. And if the dealers will cooperate, they can probably keep pushing that model if GM can continue to ramp up production. And I think they finally got past their software problems on some of the early models of these. So GM's trying to do a few things. And of course, the new generation Bolt, I think, is supposed to be out. I don't know if it's in 25 or 26, but there's supposed to be a new Bolt coming.
Mary Barrow was on MSNBC this morning, and I'm sure that's something you can look up on YouTube. But
yep,
she I guess it seemed like that just about everybody's losing money on their per car on the electrics, but they were indicating that GM was making money. Of course, with the prospect of losing the tax incentive, that may change.
Well, I have a sad story about a Chevy Bolt. My son drives a about 2.5-year-old Chevy Bolt, and he got a trouble light, and analysis shows that some of the cells have gone bad, and he's still under warranty. And Chevy has told him they won't replace the battery; they will replace the cells. Oh, but they're out of stock. So it's been 2 weeks now. If it goes 2 more weeks, we may take some legal action. You're allowed to do that after a month of not repairing something. So,
how long has the battery been replaced in that?
Huh?
When was the battery replaced?
It was a brand new one. It was after the.
Oh, it was after the recall. Oh, okay.
Yeah, this was a car manufactured after all the recall was taking place. So this was a fixed battery, and it's still crapped out on him. It apparently had 2 or 3 cells. They got those flat, look like cells. I forget what you call them,
but those are what, prismatic
cells. Yeah. So I don't know what we're going to do. He's driving his work truck now, but man, it's a 2005 Silverado, and it really eats the gas. He uses that for hauling stuff. So I don't know what to say about the Bolt, but we may trade that in on a used Tesla Model 3.
Yeah.
I mean, they look like they're about to. That's nice. Thanks, James.
Yeah. I just reading what James posted, that Porsche has also started to replace individual cells. Did that happen on your Porsche, James, or is that what's planned?
Luckily, I must have had one of the rare 2020 Taycans that didn't need any of the warranty work to the battery. But I took it in for all the recalls, and the battery got a clean bill of health. And even though it's, more than 5 years old now, it, I think they said it had like 92% capacity or what it was supposed to have. And, it checked all the boxes. But when they told me, because I went into this impression, that if there was a problem with it, that they'd replace the whole battery pack. They said no, that they received instructions to swap out the cells, and the software, battery management software they upgraded is what allowed me to start parking in the garage again, because the original recall said, please don't park it within, 50 feet, 100 feet of a structure. I can't remember because they were worried about it catching on fire.
Well, there's a lot of gas cars in good company with that too. I saw some of those like 3 to 4 million vehicles that have a parked car recall, a parked car fire recall. So they're telling them not to park in garages or away from structures because they can spontaneously combust even when they're turned off.
Oh yeah, I wasn't too upset about it. I just and I wasn't singling it out to EVs, but it is a relief now to know that I can park it inside instead of leaving it out, because it looked kind of comical, just completely covered in snow out there for a while.
Go ahead, John. I see you got your hand up.
Yeah, can everybody hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. On a different note, I ran into a YouTuber here in the state of West Virginia. I have not talked to him. Adams EV Everything. He's in the Morgantown area.
Yeah, I think Amanda and I met him at the Bridgeport car show. I know he does a lot of stuff. He does a lot of stuff on Fisker, actually. I've seen a lot of those.
He just did a video where he bought a buyback Bolt that doesn't have the DC fast charging, and his trip back with it. But he does cover Fisker because he did own a Fisker.
Okay.
So, but yeah, and he also has a Honda.
I see he's driving a Prologue at the Bridgeport show.
Yes. Which is, from what I gathered from his videos, is basically Honda bought the Blazer.
It's a Blazer, a rebadged Blazer.
Yeah. In order to use the Prologue, you can DC fast charge it on Tesla with an adapter, but you have to tell Tesla that it is a Chevy Blazer.
But it's cool that it works. That's actually what's on the screen right now is that's the Prologue. I think his might have been that color too. But anyway, I had this article up where Honda wants to launch a cheaper EV next year. People keep talking about bringing a sub $30,000 EV to the U.S. So Honda's got a lot of brand recognition. If they could actually pull that off, I know Tesla had promised it, but they keep going back and forth about whether Tesla's actually going to bring a sub $30,000 car. So we'll see. Of course, the Bolt was a sub $30,000 car for a while. So we'll see what the new Bolt is.
So we had someone named Scott joined us.
Oh, I thought it was our Scott. Is it a different Scott?
Our Scott is William.
Our Scott is William. You're right. Scott, do you want to introduce yourself? If you can hear us, you might be on mute. Oh, it is Scott the Treasurer. Okay, it is our Scott.
Changed his name.
He's hiding out here. All right, and then let's see. I had the new Model Y. If anyone hasn't seen that, which I'm not real crazy about the new front end, but we'll see. I like some of the other improvements were nice on it.
They're only selling a high end of that with full self-driving and
the launch edition.
Yeah,
I think it's like 60,000. Started at like 60,000 or something.
Did I get my microphone fixed?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yeah, we were looking at considering a new Model Y, but unfortunately didn't get much more range. We were hoping for the rumored 400-mile range.
Yeah, I agree.
It doesn't have it.
I agree.
So
I
we're
mean, some of
kinda
the upgrades were nice. I mean, they pretty much what we expected from the Model 3 Highland, but some of the other stuff like better range, more efficiency, all that just was kind of a letdown.
yeah. So we're kind of undecided because we eventually do want to get probably a Model Y to replace our Sienna minivan that's now 19 years old to tow our camper. And we're kind of undecided whether the new one or to try and get one of the existing Model Ys, on discount and everything. So, and plus it'll have two stalks, whereas the new ones just have one stalk apparently for the turn signals.
But at least they do have a turn signal stalk, unlike the Model 3.
Yeah, we drove a Model 3 that I'm not sure we'd be able to keep up with it with a regular Model 3 and a Model Y that didn't have turn signals, or different turn signals on the steering wheel. Keep going.
All right, and then just the Dodge Charger Daytona EV. I don't know if anyone saw that. I guess these have started to ship now. Some dealers have these. So if you want your muscle car EV, you could go test drive one of these, and it's even got all the fake noise to sound like a muscle car.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, but hey, if it gets somebody into an EV, and you like the fake noise, then more power to them. Got to have different things for different buyers. All right, so we're right here at 8 o'clock. So I just wanted to share a few things. Anyone else have any other items?
I've got two things I just noticed when I was looking at EV stuff. That Canoe went out of business a week or two ago and is liquidating, and Arcimoto apparently went out of business but still exists. I'm not sure they're liquidating, but I didn't really find that much about it. But it's a shame they did, but it is what it is. Aptera still hasn't put anything out production-wise. Who knows whether they ever will.
Well, Aptera, the story of Akamoto is a good story of how to blow $50 million.
Yep.
And make. I think they made 1,000 of those three-wheelers and spent $50 million.
Yep.
That's how much money they raised in their IPO.
And
it's really ridiculous.
Aptera is going to run into the problem of, as the four-wheel EVs come down in price, they're going to have a hard time competing.
Yep, they are.
Well, I mean, Aptera has been a new product coming out for at least since 2008.
Yeah.
And I just don't know what the market for a three-wheeler that doesn't meet the crash safety standards of a four-wheeler and is small. And I mean, it's basically the motorcycle market.
Yeah.
And how many expensive motorcycle buyers are there out there?
Yep.
Hey, this is Mark Pendleton. One thing, and if you all have already talked about this, I apologize. I came in a little bit late. This is not necessarily specific for electric cars, but reminder that for 2024, you get a tax credit on your personal property tax that you paid during 2024. So don't forget to take advantage of that. The tax department should be sending out to people a form to let them know what their tax credit they have available. So, puts a little money in your pocket. So don't forget to claim that credit.
Yeah, I got mine too, John. I saw that. Yeah, I think it's called the MV1 form that has the credit on it. But yeah, thanks, Mark, for mentioning that.
Thanks, Mark. John Dixon.
John, I think you're on mute. John, you're on mute.
Sorry, I was on mute. I was asking, is there any update on because I haven't heard being down here, the electric bus company in South Charleston? Are they actively working? Are they putting out product, or how's it going?
I can speak to that. I actually visited their facility, and they're churning out buses and bringing on additional capacity, bringing a second shift on.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
I passed one yesterday in Cabell County.
Good.
One of their big beasts. Carries 90 kids.
I spoke to one of the test drivers for one of the mountainous counties. I don't know where we passed. I'm getting too old. I don't know where I talked to this guy. It's been about 3 or 4 months ago. And his concern was, I said mileage, but it was making the morning run and burning up so much that they have to charge before they can make the afternoon run, and using them in between because they had a lot to cover, I guess, wherever he was from. And he was like, unless they get better, well, they didn't want anything to do with them. But that was just one county in the state that said that. That's the last I've heard from anybody about it. Which they have their place. That's it for right now. But I hope they do well. My investment in Proterra went to nothing, so they didn't make good buses.
Yeah, I
All
took
right,
a tour of the
folks.
factory several months ago, and it's interesting. They had school boards there, and they said they were picking up their buses, and they drove them through a ribbon cutting thing and all this stuff. And then I understand as soon as everybody left, they drove them right back into the factory to keep working on them.
Well,
So I don't know whatever happened. And those were short buses. I don't know if they ever actually issued them or not.
All right, well, everybody, thanks for joining. It is almost 5 after 8, so we're going to go ahead and wrap up. And like I said, our meetings will change to the third Tuesday. So our next Coffee and EVs will be February 18th at 7 p.m., and that'll be sent out as well.
Great.
Well, I'm going to sign off. Amanda, if you want to talk to folks, feel free.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll hang out for the solar discussion.
Okay.